everybody. This is Brenda Green with the Be Strong Group. Happy New Year. Um, it's so great to be back. Once again, I'm Brenda Green with the Be Strong Group. We founded this nonprofit in honor of our son, Braden, who has sickle cell disease. And we wanted to do our part in spreading awareness through education, advocacy, and empowerment. And we decided to address topics that are important to those with sickle cell disease, as well as families who have a loved one with sickle cell disease, or just for our community to learn more about the illness and about topics that are important to all of us. So we're so glad that you're able to join us in this new year. This is our first Tuesday chat of 2023, and we're happy to have you. And I just want to say anything we discuss tonight, it's for educational purposes only. And if it's anything that impacts you or your loved one's health, please consult with your primary care to make sure the recommendation is best for you. But I know I had mentioned in the ads that this first Tuesday chat will be basically a recap. You all know, if you follow us, that one of our main initiatives is to express the importance of blood donation, and to encourage anyone who can to donate blood, because we know that until there's a cure for sickle cell disease that's safe for everyone with sickle cell disease, blood transfusion and exchanges are important means of treatment for those. And you guys, if you've heard our story, we know firsthand how important that is. Where with Braden, a blood transfusion helped to save his life. So we're dedicated to encouraging as many people as possible to just give the gift of life through blood donation. And join us on our team. And so we're going to do a recap, talk about our blood drives that we hosted last year, what we did right, what we did wrong. And we will have a Visha Jameson, who is the sickle cell uh, account manager for the Red Cross. She will be on to help facilitate a lot of that conversation, share what they're doing when it comes to the sickle cell initiative with the Red Cross. And we'll talk about what we have planned for 2023 when it comes to blood donation. But until then, I wanted to take an opportunity to introduce to you all what I call the core family behind the Be Strong Group, the founding family. We have a huge village, but as far as those who live with our inspiration, I wanted to share and introduce you to them. I know a lot of times you may see me and be the face of the Be Strong Group, but I do not do it alone. And I do not travel this journey alone. I travel with some special people. So first up, I'm going to bring to the stage Mr. Patrick Green. And for those of you who haven't met Patrick or who don't know who he is outside of name, hey, Patrick, why don't you just introduce yourself to the people?
Well, good evening. My name is Patrick Green. I am the spouse of Brenda Green, the father of the sickle cell warrior Braden Green, and I am also one of the co-founders of the Be Strong Group, as well as a sickle cell advocate.
Yeah, so I know I'm gonna share the stage a little bit, and like I mentioned, I know a lot of times you guys see me in the forefront of the Be Strong Group, and in the things that we do, in the events that we hold and host, in a lot of the programming and a lot of the maybe ads or things like that. But the reason why I can do it is because of Patrick. You know, he handles everything else so that I can have the opportunity to advocate the way I want to advocate. And those of you who know me know I love to be in the know and I like to know what's going on. So I'm thoroughly involved with Braden's medical care. And so, in order to be able to do that and not be too stressed out, now I do have a day job, but that's okay. I could do that. But to be able to um, take care and advocate for Braden as well as all of our sickle cell warriors and be the voice of the Be Strong group, I have to have a strong support system to allow me to do that and keep all my hair on my head. So that's this is Patrick. This is Patrick Green, co-founder of the Be Strong group and the father of our children. And speaking of children, and a lot of you know that when I talk about um, my older girls, I say my old babies. So let me bring to the stage my old babies. We have we have Brianna and we have Ebony. They can introduce themselves, but they are our older girls who we raised and grew up with this. So let's start with Ebony. Ebony, you want to kind of introduce yourself to the people? Tell them who you are.
I am Ebony Green. I am a trait warrior. Um, I'm the big sis, the oldest. So, yeah, there's that. Um, so I guess I really am behind the scenes. I tend to fall in the background a lot because that's where my lane is. But yeah, I'm a trait warrior, and more of my passion as far as this, aside from baby bro, is just educating as far as the trait, because there is a lot of stigma as far as in the community people just say, oh, you have sickle cell trait, and it's just non-existent as far as what kind of symptoms you may have, what kind of risk factors you may have. And so my kind of line of passion is trying to educate people more on that and things to look out for, because I think that there's starting to be more education as far as full blown sickle cell and not as much as the trait. I think a lot of people hear that they have the trait and they're just like, oh, yeah, I'll worry about it if I have a kid. And it's so much more than that. And as an adult now, I know how much, well, really, I know how lucky my family was when I was a kid, because I was in ROTC, I was in softball, and a lot of people don't know how much the trait can, endanger you when you're like really into sports. And I know I didn't drink water at all at that point in my life. And that's really, really dangerous. And yeah, so that's more so what I try to work on in the background, is educating people with that.
And Ebony mentioned a good point as far as sickle cell trait, and that's one thing we're going to circle back around because, that's one a goal for 2023 for the Be Strong group is to provide more the voice of sickle cell trait warriors as well, and more education along that piece because there is a lot to know and learn and understand. Thank you, Ebony. And we have Brianna. Brianna, you want to introduce yourself to the people?
Yes. Hey, good evening. I'm Brianna. I'm the baby of the oldest of the oldest kids.
The real baby. Oh,
I work in healthcare as a community health worker, and I guess I'm pretty much behind the scenes as well, helping out when I can. I try to raise awareness for sickle cell, especially with the patients that I come across, and just sharing, my parents' stories and my little brother's story, to try to help educate the providers I come across with. And, I get a lot of people, I tell them about, oh, my brother has sickle cell. And a lot of times they're like, oh, sickle cell, I've heard of that, but I don't really know what that is. And sometimes, it's a little scary when you're working in healthcare and you have, healthcare professionals saying that they are not really aware of what it is. But I think, this platform really allows for me to kind of share that and help educate people and kind of raise awareness, and to share the complications that he's been through. So it's definitely been really helpful to to kind of take my life experience and use it with my area in healthcare.
Okay, thanks, Brianna. Well, let's go back around to, and then I have one more guest for you guys, to Patrick Green. Patrick, our nonprofit, one of our main goals really is to spread awareness in the community. Tell us from your perspective, as a father of someone with sickle cell disease, as a father of someone with sickle cell trait, and as a trait carrier yourself, why is awareness important to you?
Well, to me, awareness is important because there's so many people that don't know about sickle cell disease nor sickle cell trait, and it's pretty interesting. A lot of people know of the Be Strong group, and I could take, for example, like my boss. Every time we have an event, he'll say, "Well, Patrick, how did the event go?" And then he'll also take that opportunity to educate himself, and then I'll bring him up to speed with something else that we're involved with, or other activities of how we're making other people aware of what's going on. Like my fraternity, for example, I've pulled a lot of them into the Be Strong group, and they are real supportive of the Be Strong group because it is one of our national programs for Phi Beta Sigma. So by the time we end that conversation, my boss said, Patrick, every time I talk to you, he said, I learned something else about sickle cell disease that I didn't know. He said, I thought everything, but I really don't. So it's so fascinating. So every time I give him a topic of dealing with something with sickle cell or sickle cell trait, he actually goes home and he looks it up and he educates himself. So he'll come to me later and say, Patrick, I read up on that, and he'll bring some more knowledge to the table. It's nice when you bring that awareness to people and they are really interested in what you're saying and wondering what they can do to support your cause. So the Be Strong group is definitely making awareness throughout Columbia, South Carolina, as well as nationally. People know who we are because we are definitely making a difference. And that's kind of what.
Okay. Brianna, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I want to be sure. And Patrick mentioned some good things as far as us sharing with our friends, our coworkers, our employers, and it's really a blessing to have a supportive employer. Um, that kind of makes the journey a little bit easier to navigate when you don't have to worry about either them not understanding or losing your job, or be stressing about making up time. Because I know when Braden was younger and had frequent hospitalizations, I know, Patrick, you remember, it could be a 3-day stay or it could be a 5-day stay in the hospital. And to be able to go there and just have to worry about your child and not have to worry about, oh, I'm going to lose my job, that was an area of relief as well. And having people you work with wanting to know more about uh, the illness, the challenges, and how they can help, that's encouraging as well. I know a lot of people, when they ask, I tell them, it took me a lot of years to share our story, because there was a lot of years when I felt guilty, like I felt responsible for giving him the worst of me. And so I didn't share. And it took some time to understand how important it is to, number one, share your story. And because it can bring attention and awareness to where it can help other people. And the more that people are aware and educated, because a lot of the people we share with, we work with, we work for, or we communicate with nurses and doctors in our community, interact with them. And the more they hear about it, meet people with sickle cell disease, the more they understand, the more they can be empathetic and understanding of the illness and want to help. So it's important, and it's also empowering sharing your story as well and seeing where you can help others. But one of the other challenges when Braden was younger, and something that I was torn with, was having to dedicate so much time to him and be focused on him, and then feeling guilty for not um, focusing enough, worrying about whether I'm spending enough time with my other kids, not wanting to miss their events or things that they were doing and making them feel left out. And just to get a touch on that, I know I can, I'll go with Brianna first. Just give us some insight on maybe growing up, how you felt uh, being having your younger brother, and you witnessed a lot of emergency situations where we would have to take them to the ER or call an ambulance. Just share a little bit about that.
Yes, it was definitely stressful. You're not sure what's going on and not sure, how to handle the situation and how you can be of help. But I think, having experience with it over time, you're able to figure out how the situation, how your abilities like kind of help with the situation. I know for me, it kind of helped teach me how to process things and, take some time to be like, okay, like, let's calm down. Let's figure out, what we can do. I remember when Braden had, he injured his arm, and I was like, okay, we have something we can splint it with, like, calm down. And, it kind of just helps develop different skills. But, it's good to have a support system with all that, because you don't always feel like you're left out or you're not being given enough attention when you have a good support system. You have grandparents and aunts and uncles and cousins that can really help. But it was definitely a process. It was a learning process, and learning, his different conditions, learning, okay, is this an emergency? Is this, I'm going to be life-changing? And just kind of the unknown about it was really stressful at times. But education definitely kind of helped process that a lot better.
Okay, that's good. And Ebony, I know you're a little bit older, so y'all didn't spend a whole lot of time in the house with him. But do you have any feedback you want to share? Some of the things you witnessed and how you were able to maneuver everything?
I think it was different because I'm 10 years older than Braden.
Okay, you put it out there.
10 years older, guys. 10 years older. Cough, cough, dad. Anyways. So I think it's just different because when I, lived in the house, he was still little. So I feel like his like worst years, I wasn't there, like physically in the house. I think when he was little, it was still kind of new. And it was more so, I do remember when we found out he had allergies though. Like I think we were in the car with Grandma Anderson, and we had given him like a candy bar or something that had nuts in it. And then so he like ate the candy bar and he's all happy, and we look back and his entire face is broken out. And we're all just like, and then the panic kind of set in. It's just like the little stuff I remember from him being sick when he was little was more so like the food allergies, and when he had like really bad acid reflux, and it was just like everywhere. And I was like, you didn't panic, I panicked. So it's like, oh my God, this is a lot of throw up. Like it was everywhere. And then, him getting older when I left and then I came back, I think when I came, like not long after I came back was when he had, that bad hospital stint with the transfusions and all the pain, and like come to see him in the hospital, and it was like traumatizing after being gone for so long. So it was a big adjustment. Even now, now I feel like he's better, but you can kind of still tell sometimes when he's having an off day. So it's just like, it's kind of an adjustment trying to kind of read his cues, like reading, like, is this just Braden, or is this like, no, what's wrong? Like, what's wrong here? So It's different.
Yeah, but I know Brianna touched on how important it is to have a good support system and a village, and that's one thing I'm grateful for as well. You guys are seeing us, the founding family, the ones who lived under the same roof as Braden, but um, in order for Patrick and I to be able to dedicate our time, if Brady had a hospitalization, we had to rely on our extended family. I'm so grateful for my parents and my sisters and aunts who always come to the rescue. I do recall one of my things I didn't want to ever miss was a swim meet. And Brianna swam. For a lot of years, and I was determined, not to miss a swim meet. And I remember one time when Braden actually had a hospitalization, and it was during a swim meet weekend, and I was just torn. I felt so bad because I wouldn't be able to be there with her to do that mommy part there. But I had an aunt who stepped up and she was like, okay, don't worry about it. I'll go to the swim meet. I'll sit there through all the sessions and I'll bring her to the hospital. And Patrick would make sure she would get home and make sure she ate and had homework and things like that. So that kind of worked out. So, but I only missed that one swim meet, right, Brianna? But I was determined to be present in all of my children's lives, but yet still be able to care for Braden the way he needs to be cared for. And, it does help to have people to kind of keep you sane and stable and to give you that real life taste because life still moved on, still had homework, they were still dating, they were still real life stuff that we had to deal with as far as older kids. So it was challenging, but look at us now. It's 16 years later, almost 17 years later, and we're still here. And this is actually, we just finished our 5th founding year of the Be Strong Group. Yay! We were officially founded in 2017 in accordance to the IRS. 501c3 nonprofit organization here in Columbia, South Carolina. And I know 5 is the spiritual meaning is grace, and it's definitely by God's grace that we're still here. And so we're looking forward to celebrating actually that founding year during our 6th annual birthday bash and blood drive to be held on March 25th. So you guys, if you haven't seen our save the dates post, so March 24th, 25th, we will be celebrating not only another year of life for Braden and all of our warriors, but also our 5th founding anniversary. Because, and then, it's not just because of us, but it's because of you all as well, our community, your support, the support of our sponsors and partners and volunteers. I swear my Team Be Strong, they are amazing, and make sure all of our events are successful. And I thought I had one more special guest. Let me see if I can get him on the screen. Our inspiration, Braden Green. I guess if he hears his name, I will get him on the screen. And this is live and streaming live. Come on in, Braden. Let the people see your face. I'll slide over, you guys. There he is. Oh, see. Oh my gosh. This is live TV, and now I'm going to have to edit that piece out. He did hit his knee. Okay, get it together, buddy. Okay. Somebody else want to talk till Braden gets it together?
I will say, it's as a sibling, You know, it's always important to be checked in on. So I know a lot of times, you know, siblings of any type of, you know, chronic illness, but especially like with sickle cell, you know, you start to internalize a lot. I don't know if any of you ever experienced this, but, you know, you start internalizing some of, you know, his hospital stays and some of the things that he goes through. And I know at some point my mom would limit what she would tell me and kind of edit. You know, if it's a long stay, then she would let me know. But if it's a short one, she would let me know till afterwards, because I would really kind of, you know, take it personal and kind of really, you know, it would get to me a lot. So, you know, having that time to check in, you know, just on one another and see how everything was going, and, you know, seeing like, hey, are you okay? Do you want to talk about it? You know, that's always really important to do.
Welcome, Team Braden.
For carrying us on. Here's Braden. Hey, Braden.
And my name's Braden. I'm turning 17 in March. And I go to AC Flora in the 11th grade. And some of my favorite things are sports, drawing. Sports I like is football and basketball. My favorite teams are the Panthers and the Cavs. And I got the 49ers winning in the Super Bowl.
Oh my goodness.
Really? I think Chiefs.
Yes, Team Chiefs.
So you guys, this is Braden. He's our inspiration. He is the why behind the Be Strong group. What motivates me, what motivates, encourages me to continue. However, because of Braden, because of his journey, and we developed the Be Strong group, I had the opportunity, we've had the opportunity to meet so many amazing sickle cell warriors, other caregivers, other advocates. And so now it's bigger than us. It's bigger than our journey. It's bigger than our story. It's more. And so what we do is not just for Braden, because he, you know, especially the blood donation part, he needed it, like Ebony mentioned, in a case of, actually was life or death. He needed it in a life-saving situation. But we now know that the need for blood is constant. We know that there are people who need blood transfusions every month in order to get relief from pain, in order to live. And so now what we do is for them, is for our community. And we'll probably take another meeting to do a recap of our year 2022, things that we did in the community, from hosting blood drives to hosting awareness events to making donations to our children's hospital here in Columbia, as well as our adult sickle cell clinic, to letting them know that we are thinking of our sickle cell warriors. Their journey matters, their life matters, and they are important. And we, you know, because we walk this journey, we know, we recognize some certain areas where we know we want to give back, because we felt like it would have made our journey a little easier. And so we do that for our families in order to just bring, I mean, for example, I do remember hospitalizations where Happy Wheels would come around to the room with their cart. You remember Happy Wheels come around the room with their carts, and he could choose anything on the cart. And 9 times out of 10, it was some type of stuffed animal that he would choose. But we were there for an unhappy reason, but just to see a smile on his face, for even if it's just a couple of minutes, that gave us an opportunity as caregivers, as parents, to exhale or inhale and exhale, to get just to see and witness that smile. And so that's something that we want to give to other families. Give them a couple of minutes to just witness their warrior smile during a situation where it's not really easy for them to do that. So those are things that we look forward to doing, connecting with families, being an ear, listening, because a lot of times, our families just want to be heard, just want our voice heard, and their voices are so powerful. So that's why we are here. And y'all know I can get emotional and mushy and share, but I wanted to take the first half of our first Tuesday chat of 2023 to kind of introduce you all to our founding family, to like I said, to the family who has lived under the same roof. And, despite people saying, oh, he looks good, he looks like he's fine, and not knowing that we probably were up all night with him, trying to give him comfort. We could have been sitting in the ER. So a lot of times everybody doesn't know your story. They just see maybe the after story. But that's why it's so important to share. But we're grateful for our family, for our extended families, for all of our supporters, for all of our sponsors. I'm definitely going to give them a shout out. A lot of our partners like Richland County Recreation Commission, the American Red Cross, the Sickle Cell Consortium, organizations that we partner with to put on and host activities throughout the year. We are so appreciative of them, and so many other organizations that support us, that sponsor us. We appreciate them. So take a look, go to our website, thebestronggroup.org, and click on our partner and sponsor page and see all of the amazing companies and organizations that support our organization. So
well, I have one.
Yes. And I know Patrick Green may have something else.
Yes. Since we're always introducing the family, Brenda always forgets to introduce herself also. So I guess I'll introduce her for everyone else. Brenda Green is that person that the backbone of this organization. She forgets to mention that part. She is that runner-up of the year for Advocate of the Year. Okay. So, Brenda is that person that I see a lot of sickle cell warrior moms call, as well as sickle cell warriors will call when they're in a hospital. They're feeling upset. They're confused. They have a lot of anxiety going on. She's that person they'll call. And she wastes no time answering the phone, and she'll stay on the phone with them as long as she can till they get comfortable. She is that person. She's that person that will take time off from work to go bring that toy to the hospital across the street. When that parent says, my child is crying, he wants a movie, he wants this, he wants something to eat, she would leave just to go bring that child that toy or that food. Or if that parent is unable to sit with that child and has to go to work, she's that person that will go sit with that child. Or if she cannot, because she has a bunch of meetings on her full-time job, she'll make sure someone else fills that role. This is also the other person that has taken on the challenge of taking on the sickle cell center and saying, y'all, we have to make sure these folks have blankets and drinks or snacks while they're getting service there. Sometimes she forgets to tell half the things she does. And then somebody said, well, Brenda did such and such. I'm like, wow, okay, didn't know that. So we must give a hand to our backbone of this organization, Brenda Green.
Ooh, thank you. I appreciate it. I didn't cry too much. Y'all know me. But thank y'all again for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know Ebony has a dancer that probably will be wrapping up soon, and Brianna, just got off work and probably has some studying for grad school to do or something. And do you have homework? And Brayden has homework. Patrick's always busy, but we have a super duper guest that I'm waiting to bring to the stage, who's going to share some amazing information with us. So thank y'all, and I'm about to kick y'all out.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, y'all. Bye, y'all. Okay, it's just me. Let me move over to the center. Thank you guys for indulging us. I know in our promo we mentioned about, and y'all know I was about to cry though. I was really about to cry, but I appreciate my husband for calling that out. But y'all know I'm so modest. But you know, I wanted to take an opportunity to share about what we've done over the year when it comes to blood donation. And none other than our very own sickle cell account manager, Visha Jameson. She always come when I ask as far as helping to spread awareness of you know what we're doing, and as far as what's needed when it comes to blood donation. So without further ado, let me bring to the stage Miss Visha Jameson. How are you, Visha?
Great. I am wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. It's good to have you.
I had to regroup as well because I'm sitting here listening and I'm like, that doggone Patrick Green. But he hit the nail on the head. Oh my goodness. And there's so many more things that we all could say about Brenda Green. And she definitely is the epitome of a warrior mom and advocate. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, Visha. Visha. Okay. We're going to talk blood drive, blood donation, American Red Cross, all the things, because there are a lot of things we want to share. You all know, well, we hosted 4 blood drives last year. So it started in March at our birthday bash and blood drive. And then we went to World Sickle Cell Day in June, and we had a Stronger Together blood drive. That was amazing because we partnered with several other organizations, the James R. Clark Memorial Sickle Cell Organization, AAH Foundation, Faith Elevated, as well as Prisma and Dre 365. We worked together to host that blood drive, so I was so excited about that. Then August, we had the Cycle for Sickle Cell and blood drive down in my hometown, Eastover, South Carolina. And we ended the year over at the American Red Cross here in Columbia on Bull Street. Tis the season to be a lifesaver blood drive. So that's how we ended the season, and we were so excited about those. But there were some good things because we had some first-time donors. We had some Power Red donors. We had a lot of repeat regular donors, which we love, our Braden's buddies. But we also, let's talk about some things, Visha. We also had some deferrals. Mm-hmm. So that brought along some concerns that we just want to give everybody the heads up. We're about to do some serious education on those who want to donate blood, but maybe didn't have a high enough hemoglobin or their blood pressure wasn't the right way. What is some feedback you can have on that, Visha?
Absolutely. So before I start with that, let me just say thank you to Brenda and the Be Strong group for hosting regular blood drives throughout the year. Like she mentioned, they hosted 4 blood drives throughout the year. And through those blood drives, we were able to collect almost 100 units, if not more. I wrote the numbers down and then I don't know where I put my notebook. But so if we can imagine, let's say 100 units of life-saving blood throughout this particular year, 2022. So that is phenomenal and amazing. And it's because of sponsors such as the Be Strong group that we're able to push our sickle cell initiative forward. So when we talk about the success of what those blood drives look like and the success that we have when we see donors who are able to give, like Brenda said, there are some challenges that come along with that as well. like those deferrals. When we talk about just in general, I would say our top deferral was for low hemoglobin. Um, we have some others that are kind of mixed in there, such as blood pressure. Sometimes we get the travel one, and those things we can't really avoid, right? But the ones that have to do with hemoglobin, sometimes blood pressure and other things on that avenue, we can do some things to prepare for our blood donation and to help those numbers so that we are able to give. So when we talk about preparing for a donation, some things that we can do to help boost our hemoglobin is, number one, if you are taking supplements like vitamins or any kind of supplements, of course, per your doctor's orders, we ask that you don't skip them. If you're like me, I take an iron supplement. And sometimes, guess what? I forget. So leading up to the donation, I'm like, okay, I have to make sure that I'm getting my vitamins in because that indeed helps. Now, the other part of that is making sure that you're eating iron-rich foods, things like your leafy green veggies, okay, that we absolutely love. Your red meats, so steak, hamburgers, things like that will help. Okay, Brenda and I, we always make the joke of, "Ooh, I get to have my cheeseburger."
Absolutely.
So, absolutely. So a lot of times people will think that they're going to save all of these things for after their donation to kind of replenish, right? But there's definitely some things you can do on the front end to aid with that. Also, being hydrated plays a part because sometimes your hemoglobin is high enough, but guess what? You get onto the bed and you're unable to complete your donation. So we ask that you are hydrated. That is so super important. Another thing that we have to look at is that caffeine intake. We know everybody, not everybody, but a lot of us, we get up and we have coffee, coffee, coffee in the morning, right?
Mhm.
That caffeine, that coffee, a lot of times slows the donation process. It kind of constricts those veins, right? And we're not able to complete donations some of the time. So these are all things that we take into consideration when we're thinking about donating blood, and we can absolutely do our homework, as we call it, to be able to have a successful donation. Now, other things such as blood pressure, of course, we're going to refer you to your doctor for those types of things, right?
Right.
Because while there are some things that we know we can do health-wise, exercise, eating right, etc., to control those types of things, we would definitely want you to take the advice of your medical professional.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I one can attest. I have been deferred before due to blood pressure, but like Bisha said, I had to consult with my medical care provider, and we got that under control, so I can be in a better position to be able to be ready to donate blood. I know, Bisha, it took me a few times of being deferred, and you know how we are when we can't, because we feel almost like it's an obligation or we have to donate blood. It's disappointing being deferred, as especially for us, we take it personal.
Mhm.
And so I was determined, okay, now I got to get it. I figured out what my regimen is as far as preparing for to be able to donate blood. So, I know I have to eat certain things. I know I have to take my iron pills. I call them my iron pills. And, I know I have to just eat right, and hydration you mentioned. I know I have to hydrate, especially coming up a couple of weeks before a blood drive, so I can be in a position, my body can be in a position to be able to check all the boxes and be able to donate blood. So those are some very important things to think about when it comes to making sure that we're prepared and able to donate blood, because we all want to save some lives, but we got to make sure we take care of us first, right?
That's right. That's right. Overall, general health is super important. And a lot of times, if you notice, when we have those deferrals, or when we look at in comparison to the successful donations versus unsuccessful donations, we just want our donors to overall be healthy. because when that iron level is too low, that's a concern. What are you doing to boost that, or what are you doing to help that? And it can cause so many other things health-wise. So we want everyone in general to be overall healthy, but especially with our donors and when they're coming to donate.
Okay. And so we're going to make sure that we continue to educate when it comes to things that we can do to make sure we're healthy to be able to donate. We're going to make it a point to just reinforce that information and to encourage our donors to, just be cognizant of, what they need to do for themselves in order to be able to donate blood, because like we mentioned earlier, the need is constant. And so we want to be able to be in a position to help.
That's right.
Yep.
And we will be working on a digital toolkit, Brenda, to be
Okay.
able to provide to donors those weeks leading up to their donation, so that it's kind of a constant reminder of, okay, these are things that I need to be doing, 2 weeks out, 1 week out, 3 days before, so that it's just a reminder. It's in the forefront of your mind when you are preparing for your donation.
Okay, and that's so good. You guys, if anybody out there who actually want to host their own blood drive, just know that the American Red Cross makes it easy to be able to do that. The hardest part is getting our people out there to donate. But as far as resources, like Visha said, look at it. She just told me they'll have a toolkit available to assist with our donors to make sure they're in a position to be able to donate blood. So the resources are there, the information is there. And Disha, we do have a question in the chat, and you can answer that. But we also want to allow you to talk about the Sickle Cell Initiative that's been embraced by the American Red Cross. But there are some fears, and we had a question. What are some tips if you're scared of needles?
Oh, wow, that is awesome. So I will tell you that is one of the most common reasons that I hear of why people say they don't donate. I'm so afraid of needles. So number one, I would have to say preparation is key, right? So you've prepared, you're ready. The American Red Cross has wonderful staff. Number one, they are going to talk you through every single thing, every step of the way, to kind of ease those apprehensions. That's the first part of it. When we talk about being afraid of needles, y'all, it is one prick stick, I would say. We have some of the best phlebotomists here in the state, and I would absolutely hands down tell you that 10 seconds, right, of just being tense or afraid, I hate using that word, but afraid of that needle stick, it is so worth the impact that you will be making. I always say, it doesn't affect us until it affects us, right? So the visual that I like to give is that, how afraid would you be if you were on the receiving end of that bag of blood, that unit of blood? Okay, so in those critical moments where, the only thing that mattered was saving your life, would you pause to say, oh, wait, I'm sorry, Nurse Betty. Oh, Dr. So-and-so, no, I'm afraid of needles. I don't think I want to get this transfusion today. So we have to think on the other side of that and be a little selfless when it comes to that, because every time, and I know Brenda can attest to this, every time that our children receive a unit of blood, we're so thankful that the person, that volunteer donor on the other side of the spectrum, no matter, we probably would never know who they are, right? We always offer up a small token of gratitude to that person who was selfless in that moment, to be able to provide something so critical and beneficial to our babies, because they're always our babies, right? So that's one tip that I would say. Think about what that fear looks like if you were on the receiving end, right? I know a lot of people would just say, give it to me, whatever it takes to save my life. That's number one. The second part is resting in the comfort of, you have trained staff that is there, and they're going to hold your hand even if you need to. They're going to walk you through every single thing. Nothing is ever a surprise. Even Brenda, she's a longtime donor. I mean, she's a pro at this, but she can attest to every time she donates, they're telling her step by step what they're doing. Okay, we're going to clean the site now. Okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. So resting in that comfort. The other thing is, we are so accommodating. Okay, so if you want to bring a friend along, just as a support system, right? Sometimes it's mom, it's a sister, or a good friend. A lot of times having someone with you kind of eases your nerves a little bit as well. So knowing that you've done everything in preparation for, number one, thinking about that mission moment, if it were me on the other side of that, bringing a friend along, or bring your phone. You can bring a book to read, something to kind of distract you from the process of what's going on while you're donating. And just be so open-minded. Like I said, think about the impact that you're making versus that fear, that small moment of fear. It doesn't affect us until it affects us. And a lot of times we are reactive versus proactive. So in that moment, if it were a loved one, a friend or a family member, and they needed your blood, all of us would probably hands down say, okay, hook me up, go ahead and take it. But in that moment, sometimes it's a little bit too late, right? So just think about those things. And there's also, like Brenda said, we have great resources. We have tons of videos on the American Red Cross's YouTube page that people can watch. And our national video actually talks about the fear of needles, some things that you can do as well. Looking at other donors' testimonials sometimes will also kind of ease that fear a little bit as well. So there are tons of resources out there on our YouTube page as well.
And make sure you guys go out. And that's a great question, Brianna, but make sure you all, I will share a link to that site so it can be easily accessible. And you'll see on occasion, we'll even share videos to encourage our donors and potential donors to donate. But that is a one that we've heard a lot as far as fear of needles. So those are some good recommendations or suggestions. And one of the videos I like, your very own Visha Jameson is a part of that video about fear of needles. So that's a good one. Just trying to, ease your mind when you're going in to donate. And the staff, we're always pleased with the staff that we have at our blood drive, and they make you comfortable. And I know with a lot of our donors that if they are a first-time donor and they let us know, we try to make it really special for them, so that they'll get like, oh, this wasn't so bad, after being it their first time. So
that's right.
Yeah. So Visha, share more. And I know we talked about this before, but tell us what's going on at the American Red Cross and about the Sickle Cell Initiative.
Awesome. We are having fun every day. Okay. So, I love educating, spreading awareness about sickle cell disease, the importance of blood donations, and just sharing what our patients face, educating our communities on not just about blood donations, but what sickle cell disease is. So the American Red Cross has a special initiative. Okay, it's a national initiative that started in 2021 to spread awareness of sickle cell disease and also to increase our donors, our Black and African American donors, for the need, of our patients with sickle cell disease. Since that initiative has been rolled out in 2021, we've seen about a 60% increase in first-time donors. So that is amazing. That is exactly what it's heading in the direction that we absolutely want to see it to be going in. Also, we were able to accomplish a lot of things. We were able to get some national partnerships among some just wonderful organizations locally as well. We are able to gain partnerships in our communities to help support this initiative. I can't tell y'all what 2023, just how amazing it is going to be because of the results that we saw in 2022. So when we look at partners like the Be Strong Group who help us to spread awareness and to support this initiative, we are looking for even more groups to help support this initiative. It has been just a wonderful journey, I would say. We have seen blood donations rise. We have seen education and awareness rise. We are helping to close that gap. And that is where this project is going. Over the course of 7 years, there is just a number of goals that we are looking to reach to ensure that when our patients need this life-saving blood, it is there on the shelves. And if I can just share just a little bit, when we talk about blood donations, we know that here in the United States, sickle cell disease affects predominantly our Black and African Americans, not exclusively. And I always make that point because anyone of any race or ethnicity can actually have sickle cell trait or sickle cell disease. But here in the United States, it predominantly affects our Black and African American communities, where our Black and African American donor base was less than 4%, about 3% actually. So when we think about those numbers, that is where we're working to close that gap. Now, I'll give you another statistic. When we talk about us making up such a small percentage of blood donors, over 51% of us actually have type O blood, right? I call it the secret sauce. So when we look at type O blood, that is the type of blood that is used in hospitals the most. Our O negative is our universal blood type. That's the one where anyone can receive O negative. So when we look at that dynamic, this is another reason why we should be donors, because in those moments where we have traumatic situations, a car accident, you see on the news, all these mass shootings, anything in those moments where there is not physically time to type and match a patient, these are the units that they're grabbing. Okay, so we absolutely can help to impact our very own communities in this way. I always say the life you save may be your own, which we literally don't know. But at the end of the day, this is a way that we can take care of our communities in a non-financial way. So just through this initiative alone, like I said, the growth that we've seen from 2021 and expect to see in 2023, there are a lot of goals that we've already exceeded thus far. So when we talk about just here in South Carolina alone, we have already gotten to about 86% of our goal for the fiscal year. So just from July alone, we're well over the halfway mark, and it's all thanks to sponsors and organizations like the Be Strong Group.
Oh, wow. Those are good. So, as I was saying, you all, if you have any desire to organize your own blood drive, host your own blood drive, you can do so. From what Visha was sharing, that's one of the main reasons why we partner with the American Red Cross. They're so supportive of us when we host the blood drive, and then it's real and authentic. Visha is a fellow caregiver of a sickle cell warrior. So this is real. She does not take that hat off because it's always on. She's an advocate on the job, and she's an advocate on her other job, being a mom of a sickle cell warrior. So it never comes off. So that means a lot. And they also have, I say we, because y'all, I think I'm an employee
Yes,
of the Red Cross.
You absolutely are.
But they also have people who are connected, people in management who are connected with or related to someone with sickle cell disease. So it's real, it's genuine. It's not just their job. And so this makes me, as an advocate, as a caregiver, as someone who has witnessed life come back into her child, receiving a transfusion. This is why we're here. This is why we do what we do. and to have that support in order to create a platform to be able to host blood drive and encourage our loved ones, encourage our community to contribute to it and show them the why. I think Visha mentioned, I mean, we're putting a face just by us talking to you right now. We're putting faces on the need. We are mothers of children who have received transfusions. And so we can we can attest this is real. The need is real. And the need means something. So if you are part of your church or an organization or a business and you want to host the blood drive, reach out to the Red Cross. Can they just reach out to redcrossblood.org?
They can. When you go onto the website and submit an inquiry, it goes directly to someone here in South Carolina. Our power booker gets that request or that inquiry, and she will reach out to you to get some more details. If you'd like, you can reach out to me directly. Brenda has my information, and we can share that. Visha.jameson@redcross.org is my email address. And I'll also drop my phone number in there as well. There are so many things and so many incentives that we're offering. And when I say the partnerships are wonderful, they are so wonderful. So we've been able to connect with churches and organizations locally and nationally. We have wonderful partnerships with the NAACP, 100 Black Men of America. We've got the Divine Nine. All of these organizations are critical and have been basically boots on the ground, helping this initiative forward. We hosted blood drives here in 2022, and some of those drives collected over 100 units of blood. And I mean, y'all, I can tell you one if I can, Brenda, in particular that was hosted by Alpha Phi Alpha, their Southern Regional Conference in April of last year. That one drive alone collected 109 units of blood. So when you think about that impact, this is the type of impact that organizations are making in our communities. So that's why we put out that call to action, right? We want you to know that you can absolutely make a difference. We're stronger together. That is always, that's the theme. We're stronger together. So if you're a part of any of these organizations, your church, if you're just not quite sure, guess what? Reach out. Ask questions. People, I just got asked the other day, is there a fee associated with hosting a blood drive with you? Because our organization really wants to do it, but we don't want to have to pay to do it. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, if that's the only thing that has been holding you back, oh my gosh, come on. So always ask the questions. Don't ever think that even if you're small, guess what? We have different ways that we can still make that happen. This initiative is just so wonderful, and we want to see it just take off in 2023. So we're right here at the top of the year. These next 6 months are going to be amazing. And so you too can be a part of this movement.
Oh, absolutely. And we're so excited, you guys. We have and I know we're a little over an hour, but it's all good because we're talking about some very important information. So if you follow us, you're going to hear more about this. This isn't the only time you're going to see Visha. It's just the first time on Tuesday Chat because this is our first Tuesday Chat of 2023. But we're going to have her back, and we're going to have maybe some of her colleagues just to reinforce and to help educate our community, answer your questions, encourage you to become regular blood donors. The need is constant. So with us, with the Be Strong group, Visha already has us set up and booked with our 4 blood drives. That's our goal, to host 4 drives of the year. So our first one is our birthday bash and 5th founding anniversary celebratory weekend, March 24th and 25th. But the blood drive is March 25th. You can visit redcrossblood.org, type in Be Strong, and sign up to donate. but that's our first blood drive. Our second one is June 16th. And that's going to be our Stronger Together blood drive as well. And that's another opportunity. And then our third blood drive will be the last Saturday in August. That's our event, the Cycle for Sickle Cell and Blood Drive in my hometown, Eastover, South Carolina. The Red Cross will be right back there to make sure we have another successful blood drive then, and that's kicking off Sickle Cell Awareness Month. And our final one will be on the 28th of December. 'Tis the season to be a lifesaver blood drive at the American Red Cross right on Bull Street. So we're so excited about continuing to do our part in promoting the importance of blood donation and demonstrating the importance of blood donation, and asking you just to take a few moments out of your time to come and donate with us. And then you get some cool stuff too.
Absolutely. Wonderful incentives. Anyone who donates at any of the Be Strong Group's blood drives, what better incentive than knowing that you've impacted up to 3 lives, right? So you're helping patients that are like our babies, Brenda's son and my son as well. That's gratification in itself, right? But anytime you donate with the Be Strong Group, and some of our other blood drives as well, you will receive a $20 Amazon e-gift card. Not that, we need a prize or, some sort of monetary gain, but at the end of the day, it's our little token of appreciation for you taking that time out of your day to be a lifesaver. So just keep those things in mind. Brenda mentioned there's always cool stuff at the drives, t-shirts, goodie bags, all of these things that you'll be able to get along with the education, the knowledge, the awareness, meeting some great people, okay? That experience of if you're a first-time donor or a consistent donor, right? We want you to be a part of the Be Strong Group experience. So that is awesome and amazing. We're so looking forward to it. We love that they've already booked their dates throughout the year so everyone can be prepared. When the drive is happening so you can prepare with eating your iron-rich foods and drinking your water ahead of time because you already have all 4 dates. So we hope to see you there.
Yes. Bisha, thank you. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule and having on your Red Cross hat tonight. I know you will be back with your Dre 365 or your Dre's mama hat on so you can help us to spread awareness and educate our community and advocate. So you guys, I appreciate her so much because, walking this journey, sometimes it can feel lonely at times, but it's so good to be able to connect and talk to and share with someone who can truly understand what you're going through or what you're feeling. So that's really important. And I thank you for that.
Absolutely.
But thank you also for what you do with the American Red Cross. And y'all, we get mushy, so I'll cry again. I already cried one time. But I am so glad for you all for joining us today. Look forward to more Tuesday chats. We're going to be regular and consistent this year, bringing you some great topics, some impactful topics that are important to us as well as can be important to you, but can kind of empower all of us to be advocates for our sickle cell warriors and advocates for ourselves. I'm grateful. And for those watching on replay, I hope you enjoyed our founding family because a lot of times Patrick, my husband, he swears I won't give him no stage time, but he had stage time tonight and had his opportunity to show his face on camera. But like I mentioned, because of what he does, it allows me to do what I do without stressing too much. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for being here. And I hope you join us for the next Tuesday chat. Good night, everybody.
Good night.